Hi. Anybody there?
Yeah.
They probably bailed. That's great. Thank you. Let's get started. That's okay. Lots of extra time. Name's Jennifer Letts. I'm the chair of the Deschutes County Bicycle. Also the mayor of Sisters. And we are very excited to be here in Redmond and have the Redmond BPAC host us. Obviously, this is a great turnout, so excited to be here. So let's just go around the table, introduce ourselves, and I will start with Dave on my left.
Dave Roth, BPAC committee.
Neil Bonsgard, BPAC member.
Diane Flowers, BPAC member.
Kim Curley, guest.
Chris Blake, City Event Streets and Operations.
Matt Muchnam, BPAC member, was on Redmond and now the county.
Kathy Drusgula, Redmond BPAC.
Brett Gray, Redmond BPAC.
Sarah Vowell, City of Redmond.
Redmond.
Tanya Saltzman, Deschutes County Planning Staff Liaison to BPAC.
Long Nash, Deschutes BPAC and Redmond.
David Green, County BPAC.
Chris Channing, ODOT.
Sean Larson, Redmond BPAC.
Tom Edgerton, Redmond BPAC.
Kate Mosier, Redmond BPAC.
Scott Ferguson, Redmond BPAC.
Well, I'm gonna have to break the bank on the Redmond BPAC.
Oh.
I'm a BPAC member for the county. And thank you. You got your whole committee
And what's your
here.
name?
Wendy.
Wendy, there you go.
The whole committee here?
Ooh.
Missing a couple?
We have a Zoom participant as well.
Yeah.
And then on Zoom, if you can hear us, sorry for the technical difficulties, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Eva Richardson. I'm the Transportation Options Coordinator with Commute Options.
All right, welcome, Eva. Thank you for being patient and it's not a meeting if there isn't technical difficulties. So. Okay, we did introductions. Is there anybody here who would like to do any public comments? No public comment? Okay, I'll look at you again.
You're the Publix.
Okay, great. So for our Deschutes County BPAC members, I'd like, we can have the motion to approve our prior minutes from February.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great, thanks. Let's head into the committee business. Everybody, they will see the agenda. We'll do some committee business first. And then I think Brendan's got a presentation for us or session there. Okay.
Sarah.
Sarah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And then we're going to talk about the bicycle pedestrian summit coming up in April, coming up really fast. And then we'll do some working group updates, external committee reports, and then just kind of around the room updates from people's various committees and cities, things like that. So, and why don't you introduce yourself? We just did introduction, so.
Mark, BPAC, Public Works Director down in Sun River.
Hey, thanks for joining us, and she'll be getting you a chair, sandwiches, snacks, drinks.
Wow. very
Please
nice. Yes.
make yourself at home.
Over here.
Okay, committee business. We have an at-large position update and we have an at-large position update. So we have we did open a seat, one of our members left midterm. And applications closed. We did receive 4 applications and we do have a application committee of myself, Dave, Wendy, and other Dave. And so we are hot and heavy trying to work on our schedules and hopefully get those people interviewed within the next maybe handful of days. So we can have a recommendation soon. The good news is that, or good and bad news, is that our member, BPAC member Mason Lacey reached out to me this morning and said that he's admitting to himself that he is overwhelmed and wanted to step down from this position because he didn't have the time to dedicate to it. So sad loss. Mason's a great guy. He's still around. He's still on the PBOC.
Yeah, the city transportation bond.
Oversight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but married, 2 kids, they both work, life
Yeah.
just is getting a little difficult for him to make meetings, so.
Yeah, so sad to have him leave, but I'm sure we'll still see him in the BPAC-ish circles and around town in Central Oregon. And I said, you know, public's always welcome. He's always welcome to attend. And so maybe we'll get to see him sometime. But the good news is that, you know, we do have now 2 openings. His position was also an at-large position. So we do have 4 applicants. So it was a great timing in that respect. Because so far, at least the applications, everybody looks really strong. And so looking forward to meeting these people and getting them interviewed. So that is that on that. And then we had Tanya and I wanted to add a couple things that kind of came up in the last few days. And there was something about safety committee.
Yes, the TSAP Safety Committee. Is that what I should talk about?
If that's okay.
I mean, basically, the county road department reached out to BPAC and is looking for a representative from county BPAC to be on the TSAP Safety Committee. And I'm probably getting the name wrong, but my internet is being all janky and I can't.
Safety
get the-
action plan?
Transportation safety action plan.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Is this the safety committee from POAC? Or is this a separate one?
I can't get to my email, so I don't
think it's county.
No, I can't.
Okay,
It's from the county.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't realize I'd be talking about this.
Sorry, I can move on to something else if you want to look it up.
I'll find it. The safety working group for the Deschutes County TSAP update. So, I can read the email if you guys would like. Deschutes County has initiated a new planning project to update the 20-minute unit transportation safety action plan, TSAP. This plan focuses on improving multimodal transportation safety with respect to public roads in rural Deschutes County. TSAP is a document that will identify current transportation safety needs, safety solutions to identified needs, and recommend funding levels to implement these solutions. They're seeking input from a safety working group, SWG, comprised of community stakeholders who will collectively provide insights and input as they relate to transportation safety. The road department has identified BPAC as a potential representative to serve on the safety working group. The primary responsibilities will be reviewing and providing comments on 2 technical memos and the updated TSAP, and attending 2 safety working group meetings during the calendar year 2025 to discuss them. Their first meeting is going to be in early April. So they'd like to know by basically tomorrow if we have someone to nominate. I mean, they sent this to me the other day, but.
Well, good timing.
sure.
Yeah.
Is that what I sat in on, or what was the meeting with you?
No, that's different.
Okay,
That's kind of more through COIC and
okay.
this is through the county.
And
Yeah, so
I'd be happy to do that. It's a relatively short time frame, or like not an ongoing commitment, but a participation in a process. So it seems related to the
Yeah, I
safety
was gonna
stuff that we're
say-
talking about in this other safety committee, but if others want to do it, by all means.
No.
Great.
no, it's fine. Okay.
Okay, I'll send them your name and.
Perfect, thanks.
All right, thank you, Neil.
Yeah, thanks.
So Tanya, do you have a Safe Sidewalks Award update?
Boy, do I.
Oh, okay.
So the deadline, as you all know, the Safe Sidewalks Awards nominations are open. They're open until March 20th, so we don't have any exciting decision topics yet. However, I did a media blitz as per all duties as assigned as part of my job did a radio interview, did a TV interview.
Oh my gosh.
An awkward TV
famous.
interview in like a poorly lit hallway. It was great. Really my favorite part of the job, but we're getting so many nominations.
That's awesome.
We're getting a lot sent by mail, so I'm gonna scan them all and send them to the group all at once. I'm not scanning them as we go. I would say we probably have 15 to 20, maybe 15 now. So, and some of them are pretty pedestrian. And some of them are like very well written and very sweet and nice, and it's just a great opportunity. One person who is a professional development instructor at COCC, where we take lots of like inspirational leadership courses. She nominated someone and gave us very positive feedback about that. So that is a win in my book because she's like, you know, a positive thinking type leadership person. But we will probably want to reassess our previous strategy of giving everyone an award. I mean, it literally is just a certificate and they come to the board meeting, so we'll just have to think about that because they're still rolling in. So it's great.
Did we get any from outside Bend?
Some of them are from outside.
Good.
Yeah. There's definitely there's at least one from Redmond, but some from the county. Yeah, people do a lot of snow shoveling for their neighbors. It's really nice. So, yeah, once that closes on the 20th, I'll give a further update and send everybody the materials.
So I guess we'll have that as an agenda item next month
Yes,
to make a decision on.
on how to proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the past, we've had them come to the Board of County Commissioners meeting for kind of a photo op and certificates. Lots of photos. And that usually coincides with when we do the annual report to the board. Last year was in May. So the snow will be melted by then. So that's what we did in the past. So up for discussion, how we want to approach it in the future.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you. Yeah, we can we can be a little flexible here. We can either get the update and presentation from Redmond BPAC, or we can talk about our summit planning first. Do you want to just do that? Yeah, all right. I'll
All right.
make a little change here. Let's do that first.
So we've got the agenda pretty well worked out.
And this is our Tri-County Summit on April 10th.
And I hope
Bend.
that the Redmond BPAC got invited to that. It'll be in Bend at the Bend Park and Rec office down by the river on Columbia. Mayor Keebler is going to kick it off. We're going to follow that with a talk by Commissioner Chang, who is on the Oregon Transportation Commission, as well as a county commissioner. Then we're going to have a panel with somebody from CET, somebody from ODOT, somebody from Deschutes County, somebody from Madras, and somebody that's working on a project in Prineville. He actually works for CODA, but the Prineville folks are tied up with a UGB expansion, and they're not going to be able to attend. Then the People Streets project in Bend, which is a state pilot, is going to talk about what they're working on. Somebody from Tool Design is coming over from Portland to talk about complete streets, and I think that that's going to be a really interesting talk because it's they're a nationwide sort of premier complete streets design group. And they don't work on any other transportation projects except for active transportation projects related to the streets. And then our walking tour, Chris Blake at the end of the table there is going to show off the new equipment that Bend has for small scale street cleaning and plowing. And then the Old Mill District is going to talk about the Chutes River Trail that goes through the commercial part of the old mill, and they're very excited about this, and particularly want to talk to Mark if he can be there. And then city engineer from Bend is going to talk about the riverfront project that is going to connect the main gap in the Deschutes River Trail through Bend. So all three parts of that tour at the end of the day are gonna be quite interesting. We're working on publicity and we're working on food. We do need people to help set up chairs in the morning to get coffee from Strictly Organic and over to the venue, and then take down chairs at the end of the meeting. And generally straighten away. So, do you want to give me names now, or do you want me to send out an email?
However we want to use it for setup or takedown.
Okay.
The committee members all kind of check in on that.
Dave, I can help set up chairs as well. I can't keep it down, but I've got to,
we'll
we've
do-
got it. Are you gonna? We're having 4 hours.
Oh,
At 3 o'clock, the same day. So you gotta leave with it. I need to know.
What time's that meeting?
it starts at 9. We'll start setup at 8:30. And I'll get more information out to the whole community about food and logistics, and things like that.
What we've done in the past is we've done a pre-order with someone and then they have the sandwiches and stuff there. So we're not, the committee itself isn't involved with taking down what people want. It's, so you pay for it in advance and then it's delivered and then, so we just have to have it set up so people can grab their orders.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have no money, so.
No, we have zero budget.
Great if we could have offered, food and everything, but we're getting, I think the coffee's donated.
Coffee is donated by CET,
Okay.
and so we've got 4 partner groups right now: Envision Bend, the Bend MPO, Commute Options, and
CET.
CET.
Wonderful, thanks. Takes a village.
Do you know if you've gotten many registrations yet or?
I don't know if anybody's checked.
Because at the county, we did a social media blast and we've kind of put out a press release, so, which has that link. I think they did it the end of last week, maybe, so hopefully that'll generate some attention.
Great, yeah, and somebody wants some information from me about press release, so I'll get that
Oh,
to
cool.
her
Is
tomorrow.
that Kim?
Yeah,
Catcher?
and Tanya is interpreting budget issues. We've got to move money around between government agencies, and it's just
It's highly
Really?
complex.
Yeah.
Can get-
$125 could just.
Yeah. it's really- But it seems like it's sorted out in that
I
case.
think we're
Yeah,
getting it sorted
like
out.
We can be passed
I
through.
want to see what the Excel spreadsheet looks like on
Yeah.
that one.
no.
No money laundering.
Yeah.
So that's that.
All right, so you and the committee are feeling good about kind of where you're at and,
Pretty good. Just publicity is the big thing in food.
okay.
So we're gonna start working on that.
You did the, 'cause we got these, and do you have one, I know there's another one that's more specific with,
Yeah, we need to get the
times and-
agenda on the other one.
yeah,
And then we'll get that one out as reminders to people.
okay. Okay, yeah, because when we can get that, then we can all start sharing it within our
Yep.
circles and.
A BPAC member and of course from Lapine and I'm.
Anthony.
Anthony.
yeah.
He does this type of graphic stuff for a living, and so he put together 2 things for us, which was great. So this is the kind of the big blast, and then there'll be the more specific will be coming out. Get closer.
I just checked, we have 22 folks registered.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
very good.
Yeah, and just for some background, BPAC's tried to do these summits annually. We weren't able to do it last year. Yeah, usually we try to do it in the fall, but we were just kind of a little overwhelmed, so we pushed it to spring of this year, so we're a few months off, but it's okay. And it is something that we were kind of leaned on to do because BPAC does have a seat with the Central Oregon Area Commission on Transportation, ODOT, and it was kind of an agreement if
Oh, there he is.
BPAC got a seat, then, oh, there's Anthony. That we did kind of a, summit on these issues, BPAC would have a seat on that committee. And, the understanding would be is kind of a tri-county, summit. So, that is, obviously, it's great that we were struggling to find people from Jefferson and Cook County, so thankfully we have a couple people now. And obviously, hopefully in the future, maybe next year, we'll be able to maybe even host it in one of those counties. If not Redmond, more centrally located, we try to move it around. The last one was in Sun River. Helped out a lot getting that set up. That was a really great event. So, yeah, and then we kind of, it seemed a little Bend heavy topic wise, but that's because it's in Bend this year, so. Not showing any preference to Bend, it's just that's the location, so those are kind of some of the topics, but yeah, there's gonna be, it sounds great, and I really appreciate everybody's hard work. It sounds like a great agenda, and there'll be toys to play with and get selfies on, thanks to Chris, and.
We could charge people for selfies.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
like that.
Dave, I know at one point you were struggling finding contacts in some of the other counties and in cities. I don't know how well you're doing now, but through contact with COAC, they sent out a deal and a listing of everybody that's on COAC. And it's city counties of Culvers and Madras and Jefferson County.
That would be tremendous to get
You
information to
can
them.
certainly
Yeah.
borrow it or have it or whatever.
Okay, cool.
It was, I went, whoa,
Do they just have a mailing list that we can send?
it's,
I think they just handed it to us as members, so
yeah,
Yeah.
just members.
Okay.
And it's,
maybe that's something he can make a copy of
oh, yeah,
before we
yeah,
leave here today.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
like 2 pages of them.
Yeah.
Some of them are like railroad and aviation, so
Yeah.
you don't need those, but there's city of Culver and Madras and
Good.
so, okay.
Okay, any other questions or? All right, and then obviously we're getting really close, so if there are any things specifics that need to be addressed, we can certainly shoot out emails to everybody. If you need extra help on anything, so we don't want to wait until our next meeting, which is a few days
No.
before.
That'll be triage.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much, and let's move on to the city of Redmond and their presentation, and let's learn about what Redmond's up to.
All right. There, I'm from the city of Redmond. We did introductions earlier. Hi, Anthony. I am the staff liaison for the committee. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Format of the presentation, I'm going to share some work that we've done recently, some stuff that we've got coming up, and some stuff that we're always sort of working on. If you have questions, please feel free to interrupt me. My committee members have seen this before, so if I forgot something, feel free to interject. We'll keep it breezy. So just a little bit of background on how our BPAC was formed. We did a bicycle refinement plan in 2011. It was for PSU students and a lot of city staff and volunteers. And from that document came the recommendation to form our own BPAC. So that happened in 2013. Fred has been here the entire time. Also, as a part of that, it kind of gave us like 4 recommendations or parameters to work under. And they are, create infrastructure improvements to our system, brand our system, do educational programming, and then measure and monitor how everything's working. Those are the kind of 4 places that we try and work. This is what we're working on this year. It's lofty, and some of it is carried over from last year, like trying to research ways to connect our community to like Smith Rock or Tumalo. And I think those things are going to be on there for a while. And some stuff that we got done, like the bike map, is now just on to the next version, but still ongoing. So yeah, that's everything we got cooking this year. We're going to start with recently completed projects. I did a little map to kind of show you where we're at around town, mostly in the south for the completed stuff. We've got 4th Street, which is downtown. It got some curb extensions, so those bulb outs that you're seeing there, sidewalk infill on the street, and then over on the right-hand side, let's see if I can move this. We got a rapid flashing beacon at Evergreen and 4th. I don't know if you took Evergreen in, you may have seen that. The highlight for me of going to get all of these pictures for this presentation was that somebody was standing at that corner and I got to show her how to use the beacon so that she could get across so that traffic would stop. Best part, hands down. Over here we have this is Wiki Up and Reservoir, and they kind of Reservoir becomes Wiki Up and they run into Hempholtz over on the southwest part of town. Sidewalk infill, mostly driven by like a water line replacement, but as a part of that, because of the road classification, we got bike lanes, buffered bike lanes and sidewalks and multiple marked crossings, which is great. Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
are the buffered bike lanes in some sort of city road standard for
They are.
that classification?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how we get everything. This is 12th Street. It's part of an ADA project transition plan that we have. It was sidewalk infill. There is an elementary school and a middle school right here, so this is a really heavy traffic area at certain times of the day. So just trying to make that area safer. This is Courts Avenue, so I included a few things that were done by other people. This was actually put through by a developer, and Courts is kind of important for east-west connections for us. It's one of the few streets that's not impeded by the canyon, so you can get, because that's right where the canyon starts, you can get all the way to Canal. You can almost get to Highway 97, but not quite. So a ton of east-west connectivity out of that. This is the ODOT project. Shout out to Chris. This area of 126 in between Redmond and Powell View is being repaved, but as a part of that, we got some sidewalk infill, some ADA ramps. And then I think, I could be mistaken, but I think a transit stop's going in here in the next phase.
Put in space for the transit.
Perfect. Someday, maybe a transit stop.
Build it and it will come, right? You
Yes.
gotta have a place first.
Gotta be positive. Some upcoming stuff everywhere. Generally speaking, this is the east side arterial.
Go really fast, you
Thank you. Oh, sorry, it said like 15 minutes, so I was like, oh.
Oh, okay, no, you got time.
Okay, also I talk really fast, I'm sorry. So this is the east side arterial. It is doing progressive design build, so it's gonna be built in phases, and they're starting on phase 1, which is all city-owned land. And it's going to hopefully create a safe alternative to 97. So it includes 2 different roundabouts. You've got one at 9th and Airport Way, and then also 126 and 9th, which will be great. Super great for pedestrian crossing right there too. We submitted a grant, knock on wood, to try and get some paving along 126 from the Oasis Village, which is a transitional homeless shelter area, all the way in to Evergreen, which is kind of where the sidewalks stop right now. So hopefully a lovely pedestrian area someday. But this one is high on the priority list. It's supposed to break ground this month. Knife River is the contractor that's doing the work. The Redmond Wetlands Complex, we've talked about this a lot, but it is actually going to start this year. So there are 7.9 miles of trails. That is asphalt and gravel. So the asphalt trail is 2.6 miles of ADA trail, 12 feet wide, which is great. It's just gonna be a lovely place. This is outside of city limits. So it doesn't have a great connection. You will have to drive in order to go enjoy these trails if you want to safely get there. You can take the shoulder of the road, huh?
Side of town is that one on?
Northwest, so outside of town. Yeah. It is, if you took Herschel, some city-owned land out there, and there's already, I don't know what they call it, a pool.
Is it west end of all those new homes that are going in at the north end of Redmond?
Further north and west.
It's off Northwest Way.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no federal money in that, is there?
There is DEQ funding, actually.
Worried about that?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's a great question, though.
Yeah. Interest.
So it's currently open for solicitation for RFPs. It closes April 1st. So with any luck, we'll see some groundbreaking this year. The second phase of Wiki Up and Reservoir, which we were just talking about, there's a small little part kind of at the top here. So it's 39th Street down to 43rd. Still needs the sidewalk infill and the water line. So they had to break it up into phases in order to accommodate for the weather. So they have a little bit more to do, but it's almost done. Cedar and Birch, which is downtown. It's actually just a little bit north of here. Matt's probably familiar with the area. It's getting water line replacements, but as a part of that, there's about 4 blocks where they're gonna improve the sidewalks. So this is Birch and it has some very old sidewalks, so those will get replaced. And then Cedar, which is 1 block up, has no sidewalks, and will get sidewalks. Great.
You know, are they gonna be wider than what is currently shown?
Yeah, they should be the traditional. I
Should be
think,
a
16 feet.
standard for it.
And when you're doing infill on existing properties, how is that going with property owners and setbacks? And are you getting like,
To my knowledge, no.
Okay.
I'm also not super involved in the process.
okay. I'm just curious. I thought I saw in one of the examples of the infill, like more curb tight sidewalk than setback sidewalk, just because I imagine that's easier to.
Yeah, that was
make
12th
work.
Street.
Okay.
Yeah, and doing work in the right way instead of on someone's property. South Canyon Drive. So we have on the right-hand side, there's a shiny new gym right there. So there's sidewalks right there, but they kind of cut out and pick back up in various points along the street. So they're improving that, the sidewalks all the way down on both sides. And the canyon connection's actually to the left right there, right behind that car. Yeah. Brought to you by a developer. So this is 17th Street, which is off of Antler, right up from the canyon. So if you can see my cursor, canyons are right down here. This is 17th. And this is if you're standing right here. This is what it looks like. It just completely dead ends. But it's a 10-lot subdivision, and as a part of that, they're putting in the road with sidewalks and bike lanes.
Is the rooted?
It is the rooted project, yeah. Yeah, so it'll be rooted homes on the east, or sorry, on the west side, and then Housing Works on the east side. Yes. The Central Dry Canyon redo. Let me look at my notes. This is our Parks Department. Doing some work here. And they are realigning the parking and the spud bowl, and I've got some plans I'll show you. So envision this area, and then envision it with parking. So this is that grass area that you were just looking at. We're adding angled parking all along here so that you're not just parking on the dirt. A protected pedestrian pathway so that you keep them away from cars. So realignment of this trail right here to make it kind of wavy and more like a trail and less like a road, which is exactly what it is right now. It's a road with bollards. And then they're doing the same thing at Rimrock Way down into the canyon. It also looks just like a road. So adding benches, adding a water fountain, trying to make it more friendly.
Who is your engineer or designer on this?
A great question. Did I write it down? I don't know. Why would I do that? I don't think that they've settled on one. I'll get back to you. I can check with Maria. My chair's very squeaky. Safe routes to school. We got some funding through a grant to redo Sage Elementary's safe routes to school. So you're looking at this western crossing here. It is a turn and moving downhill, and no one can see the pedestrians here. Very large established trees. So moving this down and improving the crosswalk that's actually right next to the school. It's in very early stages. We just got the funding. I should say. A potential signal light going in at 35th and 126. This one's kind of important because what's happening down here to the south is the new RAPRD Swim Center. So trying to improve that for pedestrians. As part of our work last year, the committee worked with RAPRD to look at the crossing locations for where those were going to be for the pedestrians. And they were gracious enough to add another rapid flashing beacon at a more southern intersection. A bunch of roundabouts. The one that's moving the fastest is the one that's right here at Badger and Canal. So everything that's red, roundabout, this one's moving the fastest. It's open for RFP right now. And these are kind of particularly important along here because what you don't see right here is Ridgeview High School. Ton of traffic coming through here every day. This is the U roundabout, which is already there, but adding another lane. And then this one right now, Airport Way and 19th is called for to be a single lane, but we already know that it's going to have to be multiple lanes. Here's the stuff we're always working on. This is the Ridgeview Trail, so it runs along Ridgeview High School right here. That's where that roundabout's going. All the way up to Helmholtz and Wickiup, which is that area that just got improved. Currently, we have this part paved in the yellow. That was done by the developer who's doing the subdivision over here. This part right here, this tan star, is currently in like pre-applications for land use. So the likelihood that this area would also be filled in. This blue star the city owns, so from here to here is probably about what the city is gonna need to fill in, so about a third of the trail.
How long is that section, do you think?
Don't know. I don't know.
Is it a mile probably?
Yeah, I'd say it's a
I think it's
mile,
probably
maybe
a mile.
less.
Okay, yeah.
Quiet streets, we have one, it's right here, it's Deschutes. Quiet streets for us are bike boulevards, are showers on the road, signage, and then the green bike boxes at intersections. We have two more that we'd like to get installed. These are the two that we think are the most important because what they do is provide east-west connectivity for pedestrians coming out of the Dry Canyon and trying to hook up to our other trail that runs north-south, which is the Homestead Canal Trail. The one on the top is Spruce, it's in the north area, and it would connect the very top of the Homestead Canal Trail to the Dry Canyon, kind of where the current wastewater treatment plant is. And then the one on the bottom connects the Fir Avenue stairs, kind of jogs behind John Tuck Elementary, and then over to the beginning of the Homestead Canal where it has a separated path from the downtown area. Parks Master Plan was going on with our Parks Committee and our Parks Department last year. We got to help them out by doing some counts, and I'll show you a little picture of us later doing that. It's currently in draft version 3. It's headed for council adoption this spring. It's on the website if you have any input or if you're into reading master plans. This is something that our committee did. We also have no budget. We did this for free with no money. We were able to create, with the help of a volunteer and also our GIS department, a bike map for the city of Redmond. So you've got like, you can filter it by road speeds, if that's what you're comfortable looking at. You can filter it by what we think is the easiest ride around town. You can filter it by road classifications. Yeah, so our next phase of that is like a pedestrian layer. We really want to know where we need sidewalk infill. So that's kind of what we're working on this year. We always do National Night Out with our police departments. The first Tuesday of every August, we hand out like brochures and coloring books and cool stuff from ODOT about how to bike safely or how to drive safely around bikes. And then we also give out bicycle helmets for kids. And the last thing that we do all of the time are bicycle and pedestrian counts. So this was last year. We were up 153% in trips, largely due to the weather. So it was Thursday of 2023 when we counted. It was rainy and it was the coldest it had ever been. So no one was out. So a huge spike in trips. But the other thing that kind of jumped up a lot was motorized uses. I mean, we went from 9 to 57, but percentage wise, that's pretty big.
Being like e-bikes and e-scooters.
Exactly. E-bikes, e-scooters, anything that looked like it was on a motor. We didn't make anyone stop anyone and be like, hey, what are you riding? Some of them were cool though. And then to help out the Parks Department and their Parks Master Plan, we did a Dry Canyon specific count in August with the Parks Committee. And as part of that, we did a little survey, but we saw 921 people in 3 hours, pretty much.
Wow.
It was busy. And we did a little survey. We didn't stop everyone, but anyone who wanted to talk with us. And we asked open-ended questions. So this wasn't, do you have a problem with bicycles and pedestrian conflicts? It was, you know, what increases your enjoyment, what decreases your enjoyment? But these are kind of the takeaways that I had. So there are conflicts in our canyon. People like to complain about e-bikes, and a lot of people had issues with off-leash dogs. Off-leash dogs. And that's it. Questions that I will do my best to answer?
It's like dogs are almost as much a problem as e-bikes.
It was close. I did categorize any dog droppings in the dog category. That was also a popular complaint.
I have to say that Redmond's doing a fantastic job
Yeah.
We're
all the
trying.
way around. I wish Ben would do 2% of what Redmond's doing.
Well, we feel the same way, actually. So we look at all the stuff that Ben's doing, like redesigning their streets, and we're like, man, we really want to do that.
Your bike map is just really impressive. I mean,
Thank you.
from here, we've watched you work on that for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
think it
just
started in
been amazing.
2016.
Yeah.
The progress that was made in the last year was the most astounding thing, because it was on paper.
Yeah.
And as part of this, we all went out, like divided it into 9 sections. Matt was there and everybody went out and kind of like ground truth their area to make sure that what we were saying was correct. We also went out and marked all of the, like the bike repair stations we have and all the bike racks we could find. So if you were gonna park your bike, you knew where to go. It was really fun.
Yeah, shout out to Kathy's husband, Bob.
Yeah, Pat's husband Bob
Hundreds.
was our volunteer.
Yeah, really.
I think we drove him crazy, but it was a good sport.
He contributed.
He did.
I remember a couple years ago, and I think it was maybe the last meeting that where Mike took us out to a project. And walking from here out there, the sidewalk situation was not great.
Yeah.
So I know it's hard when there isn't already a project, like when you have to redo water lines and stuff. Well, that gives you the opportunity
Absolutely.
and the funding to kind of do it. But is there any budget in the city to help with sidewalks that are really falling apart?
Not currently. We are looking into reimbursement districts to try and fill that gap, but we're not super far into the process. You're sitting next to Scott, who's super passionate about sidewalk infill, which is great. It's new to our committee. And yeah, we're in kind of the old part of Redmond, so the sidewalks are really hit and miss, especially in this area.
Yeah.
How would your reimbursement district work?
We don't know yet.
Oh,
That's how early we are.
TBD on that one.
But it seems like when you have road upgrades, sometimes you're able to add sidewalk infill
Yeah,
into
absolutely.
those budgets and then, what was the other piece?
A lot of it's water line
Water
replacements,
line.
sewer line replacements. Yeah, if we can get someone else doing work.
Yeah.
I'd say there's other opportunities as well. I mean, right now, there's no, when there's infill development, there's no requirement in Redmond to build sidewalk. There's
Unless you're dividing the land.
unless you're dividing the land,
Okay.
but there's a lot of opportunity for infill in some of these areas with the new state law relating to, what do they call it? Sensor housing, basically. And there's also the, I mean, and through SDCs, some cities are able to implement sidewalk projects as well, and city of Redmond hasn't done that yet.
Our transportation SDCs did go up in October, and I think they're scheduled to go up again in July as well.
Selfishly, sir, would you mind going back to the work plan? Maybe, just to
I'm
know,
smarter
get a
than
better
you
sense of
all
like
the way
the
through it, but-
key things. I know there's like National Night Out and some like the counts that are
Yeah,
occurring, but curious the other priorities.
yeah. Ambitiously, and I don't know that we'll get it done this year, but we'd love to do a bike to work day.
Nice, yeah.
We'd need some sort of community partner potentially in the health field, probably. Biking to work is much healthier than driving your car. I don't know that we'll get it done this May, but I would love to see that.
2 months now.
We're way behind if we're doing that this year.
How supportive or otherwise is the city council towards these efforts finding?
Yeah, our mayor in particular is very passionate about sidewalk infill in particular. So he is really driving that horse, so to speak. But yeah, generally very much in favor.
Sarah, have you talked to Commute Options about a bike to work day? They're part of a national bike to work week typically.
I don't have a great contact at Commute Options just because I'm new,
Okay.
relatively new to what I'm doing. But that is a great idea.
We can try to get you that contact. Yeah.
Maybe someone on the committee can maybe help.
Sure.
Oh,
I don't work there anymore.
Oh, sorry.
just like I'm out.
It's also excited for the process for the bike ped master plan. Because I know it's one of the oldest long range
Yeah,
plans in Redmond, so like that'll be a really important catalyst project.
yeah, that would be great. It's aspirational, but it would be amazing.
Yeah.
And how do you feel? I mean, I know you've done your bike count, so you have some data, which is great.
more than most communities, I guess, I think. But anecdotally, how do you feel, especially people who've been in Redmond a long time, you know, are you seeing or sensing a change? Are people walking or biking more? Are they using the infrastructure as it gets built out?
See a lot more use with e-bikes. A lot of people do money when around.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're not going that fast. I mean, I personally don't see much of a problem.
Just 'cause you're
in the
fast.
Canyon, most of them. There's a few who zip pretty fast, but most, yeah, I think its use has increased because of e-bikes.
I think, yeah, and also due to population growth,
Population, yeah.
absolutely the numbers are. But it's
Yeah.
also, we're very relatively flat,
Yeah.
kind of smallish town.
Yeah.
It would be a great place to bike if there was more infrastructure. It's super easy.
The Canyon Trail is
Oh, yeah.
used massively. It's all weather dependent mostly. The sun comes out, it's a nice day. It's jammed down there.
They even plow it, so even in the snow, it gets heavy usage.
Yeah, well, the Bulletin even had an article that don't go on your trails when they're muddy, come here and ride on the paved path in Redmond instead. So I don't know how many people that sent our way, but it's
That's
fine.
It's almost 4 miles one way. You can get a good ride in.
Yep.
Yes. It's an amazing amenity to have right in the middle of town.
Has there been any progress on the striping and signage in the canyon? That's more of a parks, but
Well,
you know, a lot of the
there's
user
lot of-
conflict
There's a
is,
lot of good signage.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a
okay.
ton of
The,
signage.
the thing about.
The sharrows, if you
The
will.
sparrows or,
Yeah.
yeah, and marking. I just feel like people would respond so well to, so used to driving, to have
Yeah.
striping throughout the middle. I
Yeah.
mean, it's maybe less attractive, but I think it would save a lot of conflict.
We meet with them at 3 o'clock again today.
Nice.
So we can ask again, but the last message that we received is that they're waiting for it to kind of wear off before
Yeah.
they'll repaint it. It looks like it's in great condition, unfortunately.
You can go out there and see if you can start scrubbing some of that away.
Oh,
Yeah, we tried to put, it's thermoplastic stuff and we tried to put it to say pass on the left. But the way they put it instead said just bikes on the left and people on the right, which
Oh.
wasn't what intended.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense when you have
Right.
people going 2 directions, so. And now it's there, so
What's the width of the pathway in the Dry Canyon?
I didn't hear what he said.
Width
Wide
of the
is it?
pathway.
How wide is it?
Say 10, but I could be wrong.
It's wider than that,
I
yeah,
think so.
yeah. I think it's probably 12
I think it's 12.
feet wide.
I'd love to see it widened, but that's just me personally.
Yeah, I was gonna say eight.
Or maybe it varies because maybe it's
6 or
wider
8.
at my end, I don't know,
Oh, yeah, you're up.
yeah, so. I don't go all the way to Delta Rim very often.
I'm gonna measure it now, cause.
Yes, is most of the you know, bike ped activity just more recreational, or, you know, are you seeing people actually using it for bikes and for work and errands and things like that?
It was mostly recreational. That was the feedback we received in that survey that we did in the canyon that day. I would say 80% at least.
I would say in the last few years, we're seeing a significant increase in the number of people that are using it to get to work.
And there's a fair number of students that use it to get to school.
That is very popular.
That's cool.
Like at my end, the school is there's a middle school on the east side, but some of the students live on the west side, so they come down into the canyon, come back up to get across, which is much easier than going all the way around. On their bikes or skateboards too, so. Skateboards are easier on the stairs.
The day we did our survey was a Saturday, so there weren't
Right.
a lot of school kids out to ask.
I'm looking at the map, which also kudos and props. It's a lot to put together. I'll give my high level feedback, which is it's awesome, but I couldn't find it because I was naturally searching for Redmond or Redmond, Oregon bike map. And I don't think the search engine optimized looking for something called BPAC Bike Network public map.
That's good feedback.
I found the Redmond, Washington bike map.
Yeah.
And then I had to find the BPAC website to get the link to the map, but just like having something labeled Redmond bike map, I think would
That's a
get
great
people to it a lot quicker. Yeah. Yeah, and then as it grows, like I know the Bend bike map, they made stickers with QR codes so they could I like have it on my bike. So like just different ways of drawing people to it, and then you have the usage to make it even better.
It's a great idea. We could add it to our existing signage in the canyon.
Yeah. We could give it out.
Yeah. Could do all sorts of things.
Thank you.
Now that it's
Yeah,
done,
you
we're almost like, what do we do now?
bet.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Any other questions or?
Anything else from Redmond or?
Thanks again for having us and sorry for the late start.
Oh,
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah. Thank you very much. And I was telling Scott that in Sisters, there's talk of starting our own BPAC, and I think, you know, all the inspiration's coming from the Redmond's BPAC.
Oh.
Just, yeah, it dawned on me that, yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I was like, oh, we're small, we don't need it, and then, of course, everybody comes out of the woodwork of, having like a crossing question or a bike path question, or, just all these people out, all of a sudden, and I was like, okay, I think that was a sign that,
Yeah.
a lot of people in the community want to get more involved, which is great. Because a lot more people wanna walk, so.
I know it even came up when I was on council. I think Pauline Hardy was the CDD and Paul Britannia were thinking, it might be good when we go to the grants and stuff. We have our own Sisters BPAC and then the county can also, so you kind of can double team on stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have a good conduit in regards of transport. I mean, it's a small town, we all know each other, but.
Yeah.
But, there are things that fall through the cracks, in my opinion, especially around like, the school district and safe routes, things like that, we're not doing a lot of conversation on. that
Talk
we
about a
should
flat,
be,
small
so.
town.
Yeah, I know.
Sisters have that
Yeah.
even more so.
Yeah. We get a little bit more snow than Redmond though, so.
Yeah,
Probably
there you
has
go, there
a
you
lot
go.
for bikeable days, I think, than we do, but.
Elevation, there's no.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, no, it's very flat. I know I lived in Prineville for a little while too. That's very flat as well.
Downtown.
Downtown, yeah, the main part of town, yeah. So, all right, well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody thinks of another question later on, don't
Yeah.
feel afraid to shout it out at an awkward time.
How about this awkward time?
Oh.
You mentioned it just briefly, but I know last time we were here, we talked a lot about the new fitness center Parks and Rec thing.
Yeah, we had Katie with us.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of comments there and a lot of comments about crossing, so getting that additional crossing and RFP there is a huge win, so congrats on that too.
Thank you. And thanks to them for listening. It certainly wasn't required of them to take our
Yeah.
recommendations, but they did.
Yeah.
Gracious.
I love RFPs. I really like to see them places. I think it's really helpful. So it's great to have those key places that you have identified and get them in, except for unless you're in Boston, Massachusetts or the surrounding areas where people don't stop, even though you hit the button for them. But here we're pretty good about that.
Not quite as conditioned to them yet here.
Yeah.
A light.
But they've been working out so far.
Yeah.
Okay. We are probably gonna get one or two soon in Sisters, so.
It's interesting. So the rapid flashing beacon that we were looking at on Fourth and Evergreen, we briefly talked about doing what Sisters does with the flags. But went with the.
Oh, yeah.
push button.
Yeah. Yeah, this will be in a location that's, I'll talk about it later, but flags will not work.
I had one more quick question,
Yeah.
I guess, on the quiet streets, and these connections.
Yeah.
Are those funded and underway, or is that just identified?
They're identified. Our struggle is that our finance department would categorize those as like upkeep. And the budget for transportation for upkeep and restriping is not very large. So it's hard for us to take their money for that. Instead of it being like new infrastructure or something.
I think that term, I remember when it first came up, I think it's brilliant. Quiet streets, like who doesn't want quiet streets? I mean, that's like I think it's a great way to term it. Because I think no one can say, well, I don't want a quiet street. I mean, everyone wants a quiet street if you live on it or whatever, so.
Yeah.
First time I heard it, I thought it meant that there was no traffic on it.
That would be nice too.
No, it's not quite that quiet yet, but. It's just good branding. It's good. I think it's good.
All right, well, let us move on to our working group updates, if we have any. Matt and I are supposed to be doing outreach, but we haven't been doing anything, but I'm sure we should probably do something this month when
For the
we get,
summit.
when we get the summit,
Yeah.
agenda and everything that.
Yeah, I'm happy to put out flyers and carpooled up with Neil and David Green, and we were talking about it, so have some ideas on like individual outreach and reaching out to different groups and mainly around the summit, but
Yeah, let's circle back on that. Community connections with Dave, Matt, and Mark.
No, we haven't done anything since that list of annual meetings, and we need to get that going, so.
I know you've been a little busy with the summit planning too, so. And transit, I don't know if you've talked to Rachel or anything. Okay, yeah, and
Mason
Mason
not here.
is no longer with us, so. Yeah. And the new and improved chain ring awards, I should change the name of that. Have we changed the name of that officially?
No, there's still a list, but we're planning on doing it opposite of our presentation to the commission in the spring, so it'll be in the fall, so.
I think we've made some progress on that.
Yeah.
Kind of we're talking about calling it a self-propelled award. And then Anthony volunteered to help out with that. Gave us some preliminary designs, and I think you might have something to share.
We can't hear
You're muted.
There we go. We good?
Yeah.
I think I missed the last 2 meetings, I believe. So it's good to finally be back. Life's been busy, so good to see all faces. Do I just click share and then just does that work for you?
Sharing. Try it.
Let's see.
We're calling self-propelled.
That's cool.
Yeah, so this is just essentially a vector of the sketch that Mark had sent over. Yeah, it works. As a designer, I have 1,000 questions about it. I'm curious as to what size it's going to be. Are we talking about something that's going to be small enough to be on a letterhead, as well as something that's going to be full size? Or because if you're thinking about a letterhead, all this font inside here, when you zoom out, it's gone.
No, I was anticipating that we'd be using it for, let's say, a plaque for anybody who would get it. So we're talking more kind of plaque-ish size. But that was and that was kind of what I was anticipating. I liked that it actually kind of focuses not just on the big chain, which is kind of what it was before.
Right.
This one has obviously the bikes and then kind of little feet kind of tying it together. And then self-propelled, because we're talking about a lot of people having showing something within themselves to move something forward, or an organization that's moved something forward. And then one thing I did notice on it, Anthony, after I said it looked great, was and you put the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Council on it. We probably need something that identifies it to be Central Oregon or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think for the work that you put into it, I think it's a eye-catching. And I think it looked good on some type of plaque along with what it was for, but yeah. Input?
Yeah, it's different. There's nothing else out there like it for sure. It's kind of creepy. I don't know. I like it. It's kind of, I don't know. I just, yeah, it is. Just imagine that. I don't know. Just seeing that going down the road would be odd, but it's cool. Yeah, any of the font inside, for the most part, obviously it can be changed. It just comes down to a formatting thing. Like before it was BPAC, it was self-propelled and then award and then BPAC on the sides. But when you do that, you have to adjust the kerning so wide that it makes everything look out of order.
Yeah.
So we'll mess with stuff. We can squish Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee down and then fit Deschutes County, or we want to fit in there and mess with things like that. So yeah, just keep fiddling, keep giving me the whatever copy or information you guys want, and I'll keep slapping it in there and trying to make it look pretty.
Obviously, if we needed it for something smaller, you could just take all the words out and that, that could be written underneath it or above it or something like that, if it was a
Mhm.
letterhead or, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it'll be fully vectored, so whatever size we'll need it for, it'll keep its fidelity throughout. It won't pixelate as we blow it up. So
But this was just a hand sketch that I did at one of the meetings and sent to him, and then he put it together. Is this something we like or don't like? Is it something that talks to the message that have out there?
I think it meets the high level version of it. I think the creepy feet thing I love, and also think maybe we could put shoes on them.
which is easy. That stuff's super. It's
Right.
super simple to do. Yeah, I don't think I disagree with you on that. This is gonna sound crazy. I can hear the logo. Like I hear like the feet sticking to the ground. It makes me feel a kind of way. Like again, like I just imagine it in the wild, just going like tick, 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 and I don't. I think maybe shoes might be a good idea for it, which would be easy. I'll just
Be
yeah.
fewer, I mean, not like a lot fewer, but just, it seems kind of busy and just kind of maybe take out like a few of them and put shoes on them. That would be that'd be my comment.
Yeah, we can do that. The idea with so many of them was that we wanted to reflect tire tread. So I'll probably send over one. I'm definitely gonna put shoes on them because I'm glad that I'm not the only one that felt that way. I'll put shoes on them, and then I'll send a version over that has the same amount of them, but they'll be smaller. And then I'll send one over that has fewer feet as well, so we can kind of see different options there.
So maybe if he's sponsored by a local shoe manufacturer for a award.
Yeah, reach out to Foot Zone and see if they want us to throw their logo on there.
Sure.
I can't unhear this.
Yeah, I think it works. Yeah, when does this need to be finalized? Do we have a date?
We have some time. We would, what was the date we were talking about? Do you remember, Neil?
Fall.
Opposite of May would be the
Opposite of May,
actual
yes.
Yeah.
presentation.
Oh, we have a while. Oh, on my mind it was like
That,
next
yeah,
week.
that we would be done, so,
And we need to get the plaques maybe made up or something.
right.
So
Yeah.
when you mention plaques, are these going to be like tangible plaques for people?
It's kind of what I was thinking. We just have to find a funding source to do it, or
There's no budget, remember, so how we're gonna do
No, no.
that?
I know in the past, somebody actually made the chain ring that was on the BPAC, and that person was long gone since I've been part of it, which has been a while. But I'm sure we could find some funding to help out with this.
Okay, do you guys know if the plaque is going to be imprinted on metal, or is it going to be burned into wood, or is it going to be like a medal that you win? Greg, 'cause all those things matter when we're talking about like cutting shapes out, all that stuff, like all of this stuff in here, these little triangles are going to be really tough to cut out of metal. So when we go to the final one, that's the type of stuff that I certainly need to know, or we're gonna run into trouble. Is it paper? Is that or for real? That's fine. I'm just curious.
I think we've got time. We can just set a time to talk
Okay.
through some of those details. That's a to be determined.
Okay, cool. And if we have plenty of time, I'm happy to like sit down and sketch out a half a dozen or so ideas as well on top of this. Not that I think this one works really well, but if there's trepidation for it, we can certainly show you more options. That's easy.
Thank you for your work on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks,
thank
Anthony.
you.
Yeah, for sure.
It's good having a graphic designer on your committee.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, external committee reports, COACT, we haven't had a meeting. I think we reported on it last time, didn't we?
It was after, wasn't it
Reported to
after
somebody.
our last meeting?
Who was I talking to?
When was
Okay.
our,
City council.
Yeah.
15th was the last one.
yeah, but wasn't that
Yep.
after our meeting?
Well,
It was. I believe. When was
Okay,
our
so
last
that-
meeting?
so what's going on?
February 6th. February 6th, well, this was February 13th.
Okay, go for it.
Okay,
Told somebody about it.
the safety program 1-year funding, we're halfway through that. I was a little concerned that it took almost half that year to hire someone. So I'm not sure how that all works on the learning curve there. ODOT, large discussion on ODOT funding issues. It's in front of the legislature right now. A lot of it, they're concerned about where that funding could come through, and there's multiple different ideas. Future scoping for ODOT, US 97 O'Neill to Northwest Canal Barrier Project, Dodds Road, US 20 to Alfalfa, Lower Bridge Road 19th to 31st. They really didn't get into what they were gonna do on those areas, just stuff gonna be done. Klein Falls and Connor Road to Newcomb Road. And then they bend ever-present Knott Road, China Hat, what they're gonna do there. Then for just Bend area was Third Street and Empire. That's, I think that's a continuation of the rebuild of 20.
Yeah, it's always that
Yeah,
constant
yeah, yeah,
conversation of US 20 to
The
97.
dilemma with that is that they already know they're gonna have to do partial funding with split for work in Klamath Falls. There is a small, correct me if I'm wrong, something called a small city allotment for cities under 5,000, which that doesn't really affect too many people in Deschutes County. But it's $5 million a year
Behind.
with a max of $250, 250,000 per request. So that wouldn't really do much. Well, that would affect Sisters.
Sisters on
Yeah,
Pine,
we
A
are,
lot
we
of
are,
cities use them for paving, a lot of
Yeah.
good projects come out in small
Yeah.
city allotment. Lapine you could apply to.
yeah,
And Alpine would fall into it.
yeah.
That,
We will be applying, yeah.
that was pretty much it. The next COAC meeting, unfortunately, is the afternoon of our summit meeting. And so I know that I'll be leaving. I don't know if Jennifer's gonna bail, but
Yeah,
I'll be there.
yeah, okay.
Cause our summit goes until 3:30 and COAC starts at 3.
3.
So anyway. And I
Okay.
don't know if you have any more.
Go for my notes. Look at them again. Neil, has there been right,
Yep.
gave anybody MPO tech?
We gave an update about the Tri-County Summit. And most of the TAC meeting was talking about the allotment of the MPO funds or the state highway funds that the MPO is allocating for the
Can
like
you, I'm sorry, I should have said what MPO.
the
tech was.
Metropolitan Planning Organization Technical Advisory Committee
For the Greater Bend area.
for the greater Bend area. And the funding in the past has changed kind of a lot, it seems like, since they've been getting state highway funds, starting in 2004. And there was conversation about trying to earmark those funds for low stress network, greenway opportunities rather than just general street preservation. So that was what we mostly talked about. And then also the impact of, I feel like every meeting that I've been in has been, what do we do about federal funding?
Yeah.
Is stuff happening? What's impacted, what's not? Yeah. That's it. But that was talking about funding allocations for 2027 to 2029.
So that's still kind of up in the air.
Yeah, so it'll be a recommendation that goes to the policy committee, decision-making board, and then also related to that, the next round of their, because they have a competitive grants process too. And the next round of that will be in the fall. They'll be opening decisions for that in the fall. So again, only relevant for projects within the MPO boundary.
Is
Missing anything?
some of those still in that?
Yeah. It was no longer required to be in it around federal guidelines, but it is still in it.
Thank you.
Yep.
And Mark, anything with the Lava Butte to,
Nothing. Have you heard anything?
We submitted our most, we hope the last, I forget what it is now, the term, last correction to the thing, to the county. I think,
sounds technical, not.
Last, in the last month, so hopefully that wraps everything up, but we'll see. We're also working on the funding. We've gotten a flap allocation to fill in the additional cost because we were way underfunded, so we should have that, so we're working on getting that funded.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we'll be working on
Like,
that.
and you will have it, or?
Yeah.
Yes, we have it
It's been
already
allocated?
from flap, it's
Oh.
allocated, so we
Okay.
just need to fill out the paperwork.
Okay.
And will that help fill in then some of the funding stuff that's, is it enough?
That'll be fully funded,
Oh, well, that's great.
you know, assuming no more major delays or anything. Yeah.
Because there was a final
Aggressive
ruling on the
asphalt.
last.
Yes, there was a final ruling and there needed like one procedural fix that we finally submitted for. Okay. So,
I got a notice, I don't know why I got it, it was a public hearing in regards to the bid to Lava View Trail. The Windlick Ranch they've got a hearing in regards to Windlick Ranch Trust against Deschutes County. It's gonna be on March 18th.
you know more about it than I do.
I don't know why I got it.
I don't know if
Just,
that's whether that finishes off that sort of
It's
appeal.
ODOT
or minor
request can
ones, and-
review prior record and adopt adequate findings that shows ODOT's application does not constitute collateral attack on the 1999 way station decision, whatever the hell that.
It's very technical, I'm not involved in that end, so.
Okay, I just,
Yeah.
You're probably on the list because you participated in previous parts of the.
oh, I know what it was. I was on the Knott's
You were on that,
Acre Road.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
that,
you
my name, that's how my name got into it. Okay.
I guess that was my question for Chris. Is it fully funded, Lava Butte to Lapine, or is it
No,
Ben?
it's been to Lava Butte, the
Okay.
existing project. We've finished the Lava Butte to Lapine planning.
Okay.
But that's all. Chunk that together.
Okay. Thanks.
It's been a process. How long has that been going on for now?
Plan, yeah, a few years. Ultimately, it's been stuck in paperwork stuff, so we just haven't finalized it. We've had a final for, I forget how long.
Okay, thank you. And we'll just kind of go around the room for various agencies and cities, and we'll start with Lapine. Anthony, if any updates from there?
Nothing like literally groundbreaking. We are in the middle of this massive comprehensive plan update. It's called the 2045 Lapine Comprehensive Plan Update, and it's like 12 chapters. Last night, actually, we had a joint planning commission city council meeting that lasted until like 9:30, just going through the first 7 chapters of this thing. It's huge, and it's going to completely change the way Lapine looks in the next probably 4 years at the earliest, which is pretty soon considering everything. But part of that is connected pathways between like the north, the east, and the west side. All the parks are going to be connected by pathways. 97 actually already has a protected bike lane, so our plan is to put in. Now we have 2 crosswalks that are lit up. So our plan is to like really highlight those that they're already there. Like I said, nothing like if you came down, you wouldn't see anything yet, but the plans to do a lot are in place. It's I'm exhausted, but it's really exciting. It's very cool stuff. But nothing to show for it yet. Just a lot of talking.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, that's what, yeah. Tony says it's where it starts, all the unsexy stuff that makes the shiny things come, so thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Sun River.
We actually have something literally groundbreaking.
Oh.
So on Monday, we're gonna be closing down one of the main roads in Sun River and putting in a new tunnel and moving a bunch of utilities, all that kind of good stuff. So that is hopefully to be completed by June 15, but I'd love to get it done before Sun River changes from 1,000 people to 20,000 people.
Yeah.
So, yep. Anyway, hopefully it will happen before June 15.
You have a contractor already lined up for it?
Had a contractor last year when we found an unlocated gas line and
Oh.
communications line. And then we stopped the project and
Right.
I went on vacation and then all that happened. And now it's scheduled to start on Monday and then I have a vacation scheduled. So we'll see. I'm just hoping that this one won't have as many phone calls.
Well, that's exciting. Another, one of the nice double lane tunnels.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
nice.
And we also, I guess, a new thing for us is we developed a pathway safety task force. And so we had Sun River, we always ask people in the community if they want to be on a task force, and sometimes it's pulling teeth. But on the pathway safety task force, we had probably 50 people that wanted to be on a 14 people task force. And so we really had to narrow it down. And some of these people's resumes were just amazing at what they wrote and skill level and background and, you know, being racing bikes. Have been a lawyer responsible for mostly bike pedestrian accidents. It was crazy. But anyway, so we've had 3 meetings and then they're gonna make recommendations for us. Hopefully, I'm thinking by midsummer. And so it'll probably be quite a bit of changes to our pathway system as far as mostly signing and such.
I took this room like 2 months ago. It's very popular.
Is it okay? We go over a couple minutes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I reserved it until 2:30, I think.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. And
As far as the street department, we've been doing a lot of plan review. One of the plans is a pedestrian bike path combo on 15th Street. That we're reviewing right now. That's going to be from Sun Tree to almost Ferguson, so that's gonna be a pretty nice little project. Roundabout at Wells Acres and Butler Market is scheduled to go in on, I believe, the first part of September. They're gonna start moving the utilities now. That project is gonna be pretty cool because it's gonna go from Boyd Acres on Butler Market all the way to the other side of Wells Acres, and they're looking at the intersection at Butler and Boyd Acres is gonna be pretty similar to the one on Wilson. So it's gonna have all the safety sections and all that stuff, so.
Nice.
Yeah, just been busy picking up winter rock, trying to get it picked up, and then it snowed this morning when we showed up, so. I had to talk some of the employees off the ledge. So, let's see.
How does that prioritization work? I know that there's like a very clear delineation of how you're putting down rock and prioritizing the plowing. How do you prioritize the opposite direction?
So there's 7 sections that we have it broke up in town. We have right around probably 8 to 10 pieces of equipment. We're going 16 hours a day, putting sand out. And when we pick it up, we have a 10-hour shift with 3 people. So it takes quite a while. We work on grabbing or borrowing people from other crews so we can kind of team up on it. And this year we're renting 2 full-size sweepers to help out with that, which those are affordable at like $15,000 a month. So yeah, we're doing that. We've been using the sidewalk sweepers consistently, which are working out really, really good. They travel really, really slow with that amount of materials, so it's just a matter of that. We've got the side cast brooms going, so yeah, it's quite the to-do, I guess, with trying to get everything organized.
Looking better though, I think around town in general. I mean, I see places where you've started to pick up and clean up and, cause there's that really ugly time of year when the snow's all melted and then it's just kind of ick. So,
And we're trying to focus on, doing a section and completing it.
Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is,
you go up there and you do 2 roads, and then you go down and do 2 on the other end of town, and then those people are upset, why didn't you do
Sure.
my road? So then you gotta turn around and go back, and it's this leapfrog all over town, so.
Can I make a request?
What?
Well, I walk my dog at part of Mount Washington, and could you sweep the sidewalks first and then do the street? Instead of doing the street and leaving the sidewalks covered with gravel?
Oh, well, what it is the amount of material our machines can pick up has to be staggered. So even though we have big commercial sweepers, they only take so much material at a time. So we try to make multiple passes, then kick that over so they can make another pass and then another pass. So,
Trust me, it just looks funny.
oh, yeah, it's really funny.
Do those sidewalk sweepers?
We have both. So the sidewalk sweepers are actually set to pick it up. You have sidecast brooms that put it out into the road. They travel much faster. So we utilize them more on the long stretches like Mount Washington, like he's saying. So, and then we go back with the sweeper and we pick it up and take it off, haul it off. So.
Did I remember, Chris, once you saying to us that it takes like 8 times as long to pick up as it does to put down? Or some like enormous amount of time between
Yeah,
how much time
so-
it actually takes to put it down and pick it up.
So we figured out, so last year the sweepers drove enough that they could go to New York and back like 4 times at 5 mile an hour. So yeah, that's pretty intense. So we, one of the areas that we do focus on is called the MS4, and that's the DEQ outfall to the river. So that does take a priority over everything. Just so we can get that material so it doesn't inhibit the fish or any of the flow. So that is one of the things. And then we try to focus on schools, hospitals, and then the fire department and stuff like that. So yeah. And then we're in budget season, so we've got the new transportation tax that's been implemented. But then they're looking at pulling the general fund support that we have. So if that takes effect, then it'll kind of put us back kind of where we were at before. So it's just a matter of how they shuffle the cards. But yeah, so that's about it. Crew's excited to come show you all our new toys at the event. So that's pretty great.
Thanks.
Sisters, that is me. I'll keep it a little simple. Had a couple meetings with ODOT. One was both were with the regional regional manager. Better job. Is there a job title? Region manager, yes, Stephanie Johnson. One was with myself and our the gentleman who runs our destination management organization, and then another person who runs Blazing Saddles Bike Shop. And it was conversation over access of Old Mackenzie Pass when the gate is closed, but the road is melted out and plowed out. And kind of continuing that annual conversation that's been going on of the road, the messaging around that, which is, I'm sure you have it, you probably say it in your sleep, I think. It's probably
Closed to all users.
Yeah, road is closed. Parentheses, enter at your own risk. So there you have it. But it was kind of a discussion to try to talk about, we don't want to keep doing this for the next 10 or 20 years. And it's a big economic boon for sisters in April and May and June. But we don't have, our hands are tied on being able to actually like advertise it. And time of year, yeah, but we're just not making a lot of money. So, and it's just a fantastic amenity, really unique bike ride for people to do. So, with ODOT going through a couple changes maybe coming up soon, at least financially, trying to throw out some ideas of, since that road isn't a actual needed transportation corridor, if it could, somebody else take over ownership of it, maybe the county, Forest Service possibly, but that's not gonna happen anytime soon. Fortunately, state parks, making it into kind of a state park corridor, historic corridor, something like that. the big issue with ODOT is that ODOT is a transportation agency and this is legally in their purview of their lawyers, a recreational event, because it's limiting who can access it. And ODOT is not in the recreation game legislatively or financially, so
But people
Sure.
driving a scenic road isn't recreation, it's
I
transportation.
know, it's Sunday Friday, right? Like, I know, we could spend hours on this, but anyway, so it was a good conversation. We really just wanted to make sure that, you know, new leadership and get Jim Schultes was there as well, you know, because he had the history, he's been around so long, so it was a really positive conversation. And then myself and some of our staff at the city also had a meeting the next day with Tiffany and other staff, Omar Ahmed, and just about general planning around the city, because we have 3 state highways that come into our 2 square miles. And some ownership issues but yeah, talking about maybe 1 or possibly 2 you know, RFPs coming in soon. And some locations and yeah, a to-do list of things to follow up on. Again, just kind of a good conversation to get on the same page on some projects, because we got a lot of stuff going on, so yeah, that's it from Sisters.
The thing about the Mackenzie Pass is a little tricky too, because spring is so mercurial here and you can have snow really on, you know, very frequent into the late of the year up there.
Yeah,
So it's a hard one to advertise for things until you at least get into, you know, more May, June time. You're pretty safe then, but you
Yeah.
know, what weather's like here, so.
yeah,
It's
I mean, I
tricky.
remember a few years ago, well, my son was, I think, a year old, because he was in a trailer, but it was the middle of March, we were riding up there,
Yeah.
because it was just one of those bad snow years, we were
Yeah.
up at the top, so.
Yeah, it's
So yeah,
crazy.
most years it's, you know, May, June.
Yeah.
Um,
Snow all melted yet?
Redmond's next, but, you know, I think we heard everything from Redmond, I think we're good there.
I would just like to say thank you to Sarah for the
Yeah,
presentation.
thank you.
Got from people to help get it all set up.
My thanks to Tyler.
Deschutes County,
I kind of gave my updates and we're running late, so that's it.
okay. ODOT.
My updates, I'll run through them pretty quick, a lot of overlap here. ODOT, we're working on the 126 roundabout at 9th Street there, starting that design. So that's moving along. We're looking to add money, so we should extend, Sarah showed a picture of the sidewalk ending at Evergreen, but we're gonna extend that to the Opportunity Foundation driveway, so another 900 feet or so. So that should be happening even before that roundabout project. South Redmond corridor, nothing's really happening there. Redmond got their Safe Routes to School grant. In addition to that one, ODOT got 2 Safe Routes to School grants. So we put in crossings along 126 here, one at 6th Street, so in front of RPA, which they're super psyched about, and then one at 12th Street. And then we're also building a multi-use path from U Avenue, the interchange, down south along US 97 to Desert Terrace Mobile Estates. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
We put in for a congressional directed spending, so this is with the feds for the OR 126 35th Street signal. So it's about a $4 million ask, see what happens there. Who knows what happens at that level.
Sarah's going, oh, what? I didn't know about
Yeah,
this.
yeah. But we did ask for that. I feel like I've been talking about this one for like 6 months, but Ben Sisters to Redmond, we think we're near the end of DOJ review. We'll see. Again, I've thought that for the last 5 months. So we have another meeting with them, I think next week, so. Hopefully we'll get off the ground with that. Again, I really want to involve Redmond BPAC, Deschutes BPAC, Sisters. I think it'll be a super cool project, so.
Yeah.
If we can get it ever out of the lawyer's hands, it'll be cool. And then, yeah, we talked about it real quick earlier, but just to reiterate, Sisters and La Pine are eligible to apply for SCA funds now, so get those in.
Okay, yeah, I know we are applying for something, I can't remember what though. Great, thank you. Ben Parks, we do not have anybody. Commute options.
Yeah, thank you. I just firstly wanted to take a quick minute to introduce myself. It's my second week with the organization, so I'm brand new. But I'm the new transportation options coordinator. Oh, my name's Eva Richardson, by the way. So I'll be kind of working to reduce single occupancy vehicle use in Central and Eastern Oregon, by leading outreach and education to employers, employees, and local communities. So I'll be working heavily within the Get There platform to manage that regional network, and encourage more employee engagement on there, and also participating in statewide events and committees like this. So looking forward to hopefully meeting everyone in person soon. And a couple of other updates for commute options. Quick plug for there's an upcoming Commute Solutions Summit on Friday, March 14th at Nike in Beaverton. You can attend this in person or online, but they're just bringing together a bunch of experts to help employee commute support programs. So if you want any more information on that, feel free to reach out to me at eva@commuteoptions.org. Let's see what else. Hope Estes from ODOT mentioned at the to-go meeting that there will be a van pool subsidy starting soon. So there's $4 million for the whole state and no application process. So if anyone has any questions on that, you can reach out to Lucy at commuteoptions.org, who runs our van pool program. We will also be running the May Walk and Roll Challenge again this year from May 5th to 16th. So you can track trips on Get There to earn some fun prizes. So there'll be more details coming on that. And as was mentioned already, we're expanding the Safe Routes to School program back into Redmond. Any questions on that, you can email Brian at Commute Options. And that's pretty much it. We're excited to attend the summit. So I'll hopefully meet everyone there. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. And CYC CET, Derek said that he could not make it, and didn't have any updates for us. So, anything else? I'm a little late,
Could I
but
take a personal moment?
yes.
I had not been with a group this large that what I have to announce is it's appropriate to. I wrote a book about 7 months ago that I wanted to make you all aware of. It's called Whose Lane Is It Anyway? How Cyclists and Motorists Can Share the Roads Safely. I spent about 4 years on this book, finished it late last summer. And my intention with this is not to, I've been a biker for more than 50 years. It's not to make money. My intention is to simply try to help people wherever I live be safer. So if you're interested, the book is on Amazon. If you or somebody you know lives locally, you have enough, find a way to get it to you so you don't have to. Or if you know of organizations, agencies, people who might help you spread the word. The information that's in the book, I would sure appreciate it. So again, it's on Amazon. Or for me personally. And so I'd like to afterwards, hopefully get everybody's emails. I've also got, the book's got a website also. It's called, it's the name of the book.com. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Then I will again thank the city of Redmond and Redmond BPAC for being such fantastic hosts. We always love coming up here and learning what you guys are doing. And I'll call this meeting done.
Great, thanks. Thank you. Again, thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
I need to copy something for you, right?
Huh?
I need to copy something for you.
Sarah, I just emailed you, Eva, and Ryan.
Thank you. I wrote down Brian's.
Yeah, I did.